This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Well, welcome to the After Party live on a Waterfall Wednesday. And thank you for hanging out with us on the Mark Thompson Show earlier as well. Starting tomorrow, we're going to see Mo Kelly hosting the show, and I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I appreciate everyone being here, and right out of the gate, here comes Luis marching in with a $5 contribution to the show. Luis, Kim, thank you for being such a constant in our YouTube verse. You are the banyan tree under which we all gather. Mahalo, my friend. That is the nicest thing I think anyone's ever said to me. I'm the banyan tree. I'll be the banyan tree. Luis, you just reached right in and squoze my heart. So thank you for that contribution and for your nice words and for being you. And I was thinking of you yesterday as I was driving home from picking up Jacob from school. Right in front of me was an SUV that said Dodgers on the back. And I thought, what's Luis doing driving around Petaluma? Anyway, thank you for the contribution. I really appreciate that so much. And thank you to everyone who contributes to this show. And that includes Wes, who yet again pops in today with another 5, yesterday with a 5. Carol S. has a contribution to the show, as well as Deborah S. And then Wes from last week. So those are the most recent contributions. Thank you guys so much for keeping this show rolling. Do have some contributions in other ways as well. Gordon checked in and gave me a list of Alaskan waterfalls. It's a waterfall guide. Some of them we may have seen before, but we'll take a look at the waterfall directory that Gordon has sent from Alaska. Thank you for that. You can always reach me at kim@theafterparty.live, kim@theafterparty.live. Speaking of which, do you have some show news? Not show news, but it is our show. So when I say show news, we don't usually do a community bulletin board on the show per se. Like, that's not really the point, but I know this is a place where people gather and where we all have now gotten to know each other. And so there are a couple of things regarding people that I would like to point out. And one of them includes Heather, who we know has been back and forth with the job situation lately. And I am very happy to announce that Heather says her old company got a huge pharma partnership and they are rehiring. She got her old job back because who wouldn't hire Heather? I mean, come on. And she restarts here on the 17th. So that is awesome. She also may hear from another company because of course she's in demand and she may be getting a raise. So Heather, awesome news. I really, really appreciate you letting us know that. I do have some news from Phineas as well, and I wanted to show you a video he sent me, but unfortunately I clicked on it, and Phineas, here's what happens when I try to show your video, just so you know that I am trying, but here's the message that I get. It says, there was a preview problem playing from this device. So I can't show the video of your, I guess, former dog Mango, but always dog in your heart. But Phineas, he is so amazing when it comes to his animals and the passion and the love that he has for caring for his creatures and being their person. And so after the passing of his previous Dalmatian, he got a new Dalmatian named Mango, but Mango apparently had some issues as far as biting and being aggressive. And he said he tried everything he could. And sadly, Mango had to be rehomed. So it was a video of Mango in the new home. And I'm so sorry that I can't show it to you, but I know Phineas wanted to pass on that word. So that is our community bulletin board for today. And if you, oops, sorry, I don't mean to show that. I don't want to show anyone's email address that doesn't want to be seen. If you do want to share anything with everyone, I managed to add a community tab. And so that is in the show as well. You'll see Mama's salsa recipe up there. So check out the community tab. And if you want to share pictures or videos that you can make work, that's great. Anything shared in the community tab, I may show on the actual show as well. So do keep that in mind. Okay. let's move into some of these stories, because I will tell you that the show may not be as long today. I think it will, but I have a parent teacher conference, Jacob's parent teacher conference today that I have to go to. So I do need to get to that. I always love parent teacher conferences. I know some people hate them, but you know what, I feel like teachers have all this information on my child that I don't know. Like, they have test scores, and they have, secrets about what's happening in the classroom and their interaction with other kids. And I feel like I really get the goods when I meet with the teacher. So I'm excited to do that. And fingers crossed it goes well. I think it will. Jacob seems to be having a really good year in sixth grade so far. So I'm very hopeful. I've never really had a bad teachers conference. I'm really lucky in that way. Let's do this story first. This I and I'm showing this to you because I found the perspective, the point of view in this video very, very fascinating. So this is a video of these little sucker fish that attach themselves to the sides of humpback whales or other creatures, I would imagine. And for the first time, we can see what it looks like from their perspective as they're whipped through the ocean on the back of these whales. And what I found most fascinating is how, when the whale leaps out of the sea, they all detach and then immediately they're right back to it. Check it out. And here they come right back up. Yeah. I'll turn off the volume because that might be kind of loud and buzzy. But there they are, just riding along on a humpback whale, these little sucker fish. It's a mutually beneficial relationship between these remoras and the humpback whales. They host dozens of these fish. They're sucker fish. They ride on the whales, making a meal of, and we'll show that again, making a meal of sea lice and other crustaceans that also hang out on the skin of the whale. And they have this oval dorsal fin that functions like a suction cup. They have a membrane, a flexible membrane ridges that raise and lower to generate adhesive force. So it allows them to either stick to the whale or release and swim independently as needed, like when these whales do a big jump like that. And so look how flexible they are. Like, want to take a ride, want to not. Here comes a jump, got to get off for a minute. The symbiotic relationship was seen by marine biologists at Australia's Griffith University. They decided to tag these humpback whales with underwater cameras during their seasonal migration along the country's eastern coast. So far, they have learned not just the remora's daily habits. I'll put a pause on that so we can watch them out. So interesting. So, not just the daily habits, but the fish's regular menu, as well as how some whales really handle what they call their tag-alongs. The researchers said one of their biggest surprises when they investigate videos captured from the tags was the remora's ability to move around freely and then keep returning to the whale's body, even during these very fast ascents to the surface. And immediately after the whale breaches and returns to the water, right back in. They said the feat extended to occasions when a whale made a quick ascent, breached the ocean surface. Immediately after the whale went back underwater, remoras were seen easily reattaching to their humpback host. So very easy for them to be flexible and, check out for a minute, check back in. They said it was amazing to see how fast and nimble they were during several different rides with the whales. They also say they noticed that the remoras appear to have adapted to the difficult hydrodynamics of whale travel. They don't create suction. Instead, their dorsal plates generate a vacuum effect, allowing them to essentially adhere to the whale's skin. They say they aren't picky eaters. When sea lice and other parasites aren't around, they'll start munching on the skin shed by the whale. But despite the mutual relationship, they say the whales don't like these fish, even though they're likely beneficial for whales because they eat other host organisms like the sea lice. The whales seem to dislike their presence. They said they observed whales eyeing them, undertaking multiple breaches, and then checking again to see if they're still on. I would too do whatever I could to get a thing off of me. They say they have a lot left to learn about the remoras. They still don't know if the fish accompany whales when they travel south towards Antarctica. They don't know the overall life cycle for a fact. So they're interested in learning more about that. They say that remoras spawn along the East Australian current, where small larvae grow into miniature sucker fish, and those young remoras would need to find a host fast in order to survive, which could suggest that a time of reproduction could be linked to the whale's migration cycle. So they're trying to figure all that out still. But I will say the video is pretty cool. Pretty cool. I mean, how often are we ever going to see that perspective? Here they go. And we'll see them reattach. Hey, that's pretty awesome. Unless you're the whale, right? All right, we'll move forward because we have this story about, speaking of animals, Tom Brady is cloning his dog. Yeah. So this, I, okay, and reminds me of, not reminds me of, but kind of makes me think of Phineas and the love for the dog. I know people, I love my dog. I really love my first dog. And I, to the point where I, and I'm not a dog breeder, and I know there's too many dogs in the world, but I thought I really would love her offspring because I just love her so much. So I understand. But when you think about cloning a dog, my mind goes to the shelters. There's a million dogs in the world that need a home, that need love, that need to be rescued, that need to find a place. So while I get that you want the same dog and that we need to kind of maybe be a little more mature than that. No. Tom Brady says his new dog is a clone of his late pet. He's done it. The former NFL quarterback said his dog, Junie, is a clone of his dog who died 2 years ago. He made the announcement in a statement the same day that Colossal Biosciences, which is a Dallas-based company, announced that they cloned their dog. Mm-hmm. They acquired Viagen Pets and Equine, specializing in cloning animals. So ESPN reports that Brady is an investor in Colossal Biosciences. And we've talked about them before on the show, they call themselves the De-Extinction Company. They were the ones earlier this year that cloned the dire wolves, remember? That have been extinct for more than 10,000 years, which they really didn't clone the extinct animal, but okay. Brady said, I love my animals. They mean the world to me and my family. He said a few years ago, I worked with Colossal and leveraged their non-invasive cloning technology through a simple blood draw of our family's elderly dog before she passed away. And so now I guess he has a new version of that dog. And the new dog is named Junie. I don't know what the old dog's name was. The company expanded its focus on livestock to now pets and horses and endangered species. They say they have exclusive access to early technologies used to clone Dolly the sheep in the 1990s, and they will be operating under their current leadership as a wholly owned subsidiary of Colossal. The name of the company acquired is Viagen. They said they'll be, because they're merging now or together, acting together, these companies will be able to operate at a scale that simply wasn't possible on their own. They have successfully cloned 16 species, the black-footed ferret, a horse as well, They've cloned celebrity pets, including Barbara Streisand's dog, Samantha, Paris Hilton's dog, Diamond Baby. Uh, the cost of cloning your pet is a lot more than rescuing a pet. $50,000, 50 grand, according to their website. So if you want to clone your old pet, it's going to cost you 50K. This dog, Junie, is a pit bull mix that Brady adopted when he was married to Giselle Bundchen, cloned from the late Lua's blood. So that was the name of the dog that passed, Lua, and the new one is Junie. And the blood was collected from Lua before she died in 2023. He said in a statement, Brady, that the acquisition by Colossal of Viagen will help both families losing their beloved pets and also helping to save endangered species. But you have groups like People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals and other critics of pet cloning arguing that it can mean producing multiple animals that are discarded before a successful clone. So, there's some ethical questions there about whether it's something that they should be doing. PETA, though, saying we empathize with Tom Brady and anyone grieving the loss of a beloved companion animal, but the best way to honor them is to recognize that they aren't replaceable and adopt. I kind of agree with PETA on this. Don't agree with them on everything, but I agree with them on this one. Because the shelters are full. So why do we need to spend 50 grand to clone an animal? I get it. I get that people love their pets. Going to the chat to see what you guys are thinking about this. Jim says, yeah. No, more evidence Brady is an idiot. Calvin says he can afford it. Tammy says that's a Cavasack full bag. That's exactly right. Mama says, say it with me. Rich people don't know how to spend their money. You think about what you could do with that $50,000. I mean, come on, send your kid to college, and we're gonna clone a dog. Get a new dog. There are times, and I know, at least when talking to my husband, because I didn't grow up having a dog. My mom thought animals were messy and expensive, so I didn't grow up with having a dog. The minute I got married, my husband said, "We're getting a dog." I grew up with dogs. I always need to have a dog in the house, and then I learned, and then I knew. Oh, this is amazing. This makes my life better. So I understand from talking to him that there's always that animal that sticks out, the one that was really, really special to you, that you had a great relationship with. $50,000 to clone a dog when you love your other animals too, the ones that come after, the ones that came before. Yvonne says dogs don't have the same personality. I don't think I believe in this. Oh, so you don't think the cloned dog has the same personality as the other dog? My thought was this, and I don't know if this is right, Yvonne, or not, but it could be that if you clone the dog, they would have a genetically similar temperament, maybe? I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it's all environment. And if that's the case, then really, why? I don't know. Why not just get another dog? Blue Spark says our turtles are April and Lurch. Oh, that's cute. Yeah. Yvonne talking about Barbara Streisand's clone dog. Susan with the memory of a wonderful Great Pyrenees, a rescue dog. We ended up dog sharing and it worked out okay. Oh, you miss him every day. Yeah, I know. It sucks. It's hard. Heather says, I'd give anything to have my kitty Tanuki back, but it just feels weird to me. Yeah, it's one of those things where you understand the desire to do it, right? Like the calling to do it almost. What Wes hits it on the head. I think it's someone not wanting to deal with grief properly. That's right. Yeah. You're never going to replace that dog, even if you clone it. You just aren't. It's not ever going to be the same. Yvonne says Barbara said her 3 cloned dogs just don't have the same personality. And Doug says Brady will charge you $35 to see his Super Bowl rings at the Fontainebleau in Las Vegas. Luis says memento mori, Latin for remember you must die. Philosophically, life meaning comes knowing that life is not permanent. We value pets because we know our time with them is limited. That is so true. That is so true. I think easier also for us to realize, when I'm hanging out with my dog, I think sometimes it so totally sucks that dogs have such a short lifespan. Harder for kids to realize it though. They grow up with this dog, they think it's going to be around forever. Yeah. Thanks, Louise. I love that. John says they might have similar temperament. I don't know how close personality is to temperament. Yeah, interesting. Teacher Lori says they will not have the same personality, plus the discarded mistakes make it a no-go. I'm taking it you guys would not take your 50 grand and have your animal cloned. Mm-hmm. Heather says losing Tanuki was devastating. I can't imagine doing it twice. Ugh. Yeah. John says, with the cost of veterinary treatment these days, how much should you spend on your pet? The emergency vet place near me costs $6,000 a night. Did you mean 600? Or did you mean 6,000? That's crazy. Wow. Karen writes, adopt a tortoise or parrot. They live a long time, possibly outlive you. Pardon me, but that becomes a problem then. Because then pardon me, I breathed in the wrong way. Then you have stress when you die, when you get old, because what's going to happen to your parrot that's going to live another 20 years, or your turtle that is going to live another 100? And how do you make sure that you safeguard that animal when you're not around to take care of it? Yeah, I know, all kinds of stuff. No, 6K. That's crazy. Wow. Find a needy animal, says Katie, and respect his or her personality. It's expensive. Even the food is expensive. Dog food is expensive. Yvonne says, yep, my sister's parrot is in her trust. No, he said, I heard my girlfriend's sister was charged $6,000 a night. That is crazy. I wouldn't be able to afford that. Not even one night. No. And then, you want to make it affordable for people to care for their animals. And I get that vet school is expensive and that running a vet office is probably expensive, but that just seems extraordinarily extravagant. No. Okay, we'll move forward. I have another dog story. Hey, this little guy. There was a lion sighting, a lion on the loose in Ireland. People were really concerned. It's a lion. There's a area called County Clare, Ireland. You may have heard of it before. And there were police reports that came into the police. They had a viral video of a lion on the loose in the woods east of County Clare. There was a report from Killaloe. The police opened an investigation after a video captured by a truck driver appeared to show what looked like an African lion wandering into the woods. This was pretty scary. What's a lion doing in County Clare, Ireland? This isn't good. Irish police officers are known as the Gardaí. They went out, they took a look, and they found that this animal was a Newfoundland that had had a recent haircut. The dog's name is Mouse. And they said, yeah, Mouse had a fresh haircut and he looked a little liony. And he's actually a dog, not a lion. Mouse's fur appeared to have been shaved to leave a lengthy tuft on the tip of the tail as well, while also preserving the appearance of a mane around his head and his neck. In a viral video taken the morning of October 29th, a large animal with a long tail and what appeared to be a dark-colored mane could be seen trotting toward the forest. The video was made by a truck driver who honked his horn at the creature that we now know as Mouse, but Mouse just kept walking into the woods and disappeared. The forest manager was sent a clip of this, said the animal had been spotted moving around the woods over Mount Shannon. The animal had been seen by harvesters working on the site, but it was from a distance, moving through the trees. We assumed it was a deer before the video was captured. He said the video came from a trucker hauling lumber, and there's debate as to what it actually is. Now, it's Mouse. Mouse is a Newfoundland with a fresh haircut, was a little bit liony looking, and mystery solved. Mouse is fine. He's okay. He's a very committed Newfoundland with a fresh haircut, very friendly, and back where he needs to be. Mouse causing all kinds of trouble with your new haircut. That's funny. Here's a story, not so funny if it happens to you. This is Maine Health, the facility in Maine. It's a big business there, Maine Health. They had a little oopsie. They sent death notices to more than 500 people who are still alive. Wait, what? How did that happen? This is Maine's largest healthcare provider. They sent out condolences to hundreds of people that are still with us because of a computer system error. They sent 500 living people notices to inform their next of kin of their reported deaths. Oh my gosh. 531 people got the notices that they had croaked when they were indeed still alive and well. The cause of the mistake, a computer program that generates estate vendor letters. There were no medical records that listed these people as dead. The computer program has since been corrected to prevent future occurrences. So Maine Health is a nonprofit healthcare provider. They have a level 1 trauma center and 8 other hospitals in Maine. They employ 20,000 people in Maine and New Hampshire. Just made a little mistake. You imagine opening the mailbox? We regret to inform you that Kim McAllister has passed away. And we're super, super sorry. We offer our condolences, and by the way, if you'd like to give any part of her estate to the hospital, we're happy to take that. Good job, Maine Health. I don't know how I get that there can be a computer glitch, but that seems a little, come on. Speaking of health, it's a yucky one, this story. Yeah. Smoke inhalation from wildfires is now linked to premature births. We know smoke from wildfires is bad for us. It's why we slap those masks on our face the minute a wildfire breaks out and we can smell smoke in the air. Especially if you live in California, we know the drill by now, right? It turns out the wildfire smoke can be more damaging than just hurting our lungs, which is pretty egregious already. There was a pretty big study done at the University of Washington, and it found that pregnant women exposed to wildfire smoke were more likely to deliver their babies early. When you deliver a baby early, there can be all kinds of complications, long-term complications for the baby. The findings published Monday in the Lancet Planetary Health, based on more than 20,000 births across the United States between 2006 and 2020. So like I said, pretty big study, right? They said about 10% of babies in the United States are born early. It can lead to lifelong health problems. Air pollution already linked to preterm birth, and this is one of the biggest studies so far to look specifically at wildfire smoke as a contributor to this. Preventing preterm birth really pays off with lasting benefits for future health. They say it's also something of a mystery. They don't always understand why babies are born preterm, but they do know that air pollution contributes to preterm birth. So it makes sense, they say, that wildfire smoke would as well. The study underscores wildfire smoke is inseparable from maternal and infant health. Really makes you think about if you're going to be having a baby, where you're living, and in what season as well. Whether you even want to go outside. Researchers measured how often pregnant people, they say pregnant people, pregnant women, right, were exposed to wildfire related fine particle pollution known as PM 2.5, and how much they were exposed as well. They found that preterm birth was higher when exposure happened in the second trimester, especially around week 21. Later in pregnancy, the biggest risk came from high levels of wildfire smoke, above 10 micrograms per cubic meter. The strongest link seen in the western United States, where wildfire smoke has become more frequent and more intense. That second trimester is a period of pregnancy with the richest, most intense growth of the placenta, which itself is an important part of fetal health, growth, and development, according to the study's co author. So they say it may be wildfire smoke particles are really interfering with placental health. Some of these particles so tiny after inhalation that they can get into the bloodstream and get delivered directly into the placenta or the uterus. So they need to do more research, they say, to understand exactly how the wildfire smoke affects pregnancy. But they say there is action and evidence strong enough now to take action for pregnant people. They say there's an opportunity to work with doctors to provide tools for pregnant people to protect themselves during these smoke wildfire events. And that public health agencies' messaging about wildfire smoke could also be tailored to pregnant women and highlight them as a vulnerable group. Something to note, there is a study that shows using a smartwatch can actually detect heart disease. The data from the smartwatch is then analyzed by artificial intelligence. It's an AI fed heart sensor data from Apple Watch. And a study shows it accurately detected heart problems like weakened pumping ability, damaged valves, or thickened heart muscles. They're going to present this information. I have a picture of an Apple Watch. My bad. I'm sorry. There you go. Uh, they're going to present this data on Friday at the American Heart Association's annual meeting in New Orleans. They say it's impressive because an Apple Watch contains only a single echocardiogram lead. That's it, compared to a 12 lead test performed in the hospitals. But that one lead can lead to a lot of information. On its own, they said a single lead ECG is limited. But with AI, it becomes powerful enough to screen for important heart conditions. They say it could make early screening for structural heart disease possible on a large scale using devices that many people already own. The researchers trained the AI. They used more than 266,000 12 lead recordings from more than 110,000 adults. And they isolated one of the 12 leads that most resembles the ECG on smartwatches. And they taught the AI to detect heart disease based on that single lead data alone. Then the team tested the AI on 600 fresh recruits who underwent a 30-second reading on an Apple Watch. And the AI was 88% accurate at distinguishing between people with or without heart disease based on smartwatch data. Further, AI was 86% accurate in identifying people with heart disease and 99% accurate at ruling out people who didn't have heart disease. The doctors say millions of people wear smartwatches, and they're currently mainly used to detect heart rhythm problems like atrial fibrillation. Structural heart diseases, on the other hand, are usually found with an echocardiogram, which is that advanced ultrasound imaging test of the heart that requires special equipment and is not widely available. So they're now going to evaluate the AI tool in broader settings to explore how it could be integrated into community-based heart disease screening programs to assess potential impact on improving preventative care. Now, again, they're not publishing this, they're presenting the evidence at a medical conference. And so, because of that, they say the data should be considered preliminary until it's published in a peer reviewed journal. But very interesting, the effect the Apple Watch is having on public health. There's a guy mowing his lawn. Sorry for the watermarks on the picture there. I didn't notice it till now, till it was big in front of me. Here he is mowing his lawn. What do you think he's thinking about? Gotta go to the store later. Oh, gotta watch the game later. Got my buddies coming over. Maybe gotta go pick my kids up from school. No, not this guy. He is thinking about lottery numbers. It's the lotto of the day. This man from Maryland who randomly had a set of numbers pop into his head while he was mowing his neighbor's lawn ended up using them, and he won a $150,000 lottery prize. Well, that'll come in handy. This man said he's been playing various lottery games for over 35 years. He's especially drawn to big jackpot games like the Powerball and the Mega Millions. But occasionally, he says he'll try a pick 5, a pick 4, a pick 3. I've never played any of those. This one, though, pardon me, cough break. This one, he said, came from a pick 5 ticket that he bought at the Express Mart. He selected the numbers that popped into his head while he was mowing the lawn, 1, 3, 6, 0, and 5. While he was cutting his neighbor's grass, he said those numbers just popped into his head and wouldn't go away. So when he got home, his wife said, "Well, you should play those numbers." So I did, and it worked, he said. He scanned his ticket on his phone and screamed, "Baby, look at this." They both took a moment, they said, and they prayed. They're going to use the money to sort out their finances, take a road trip, and spoil his good luck charm of a wife, he said. "I'm grateful and motivated to win again, but I think I'll take a little break for now." People who think they're going to win again. I mean, we've seen it happen here on the After Party Live, but I mean, it's really unlikely. The chances are good that you're not winning it again. To space. This team from China is delayed, possibly because of space debris. Yeah. This return of 3 Chinese astronauts in orbit is now on hold because space debris caused some damage right as they were heading back to Earth, or at least preparing to. China's manned spaceflight agency says its Shenzhou 20 mission has to stay in space longer on China's Tiangong space station because the return craft was hit by what they think is space debris. So, to ensure the health and safety of the astronauts and the success of the completion of the mission, they have to now postpone the return date. The goal to land a person on the moon by 2030 is still within sight for China. Their manned space program has executed 37 flights, 6 of which were crewed by Chinese astronauts. So now they have to put it on hold. Don't know for how long or how they're going to get these guys back home yet. But yeah, space debris got in the way. Speaking of, well, not outer space, but interesting developments, check this out. This is an old relic. This man brought his dad's piece of the Parthenon to Greek officials, and they said, "That's not a piece of the Parthenon, pal. That's from an even older temple in the Acropolis of Athens." It's an engraved marble fragment, and they say it likely came from an archaic temple called the Hecatompedon. It would make this relic about 2,600 years old. The relic is in this man's possession because his dad, who was an engineer, heard on the radio that Greece was fighting for marble sculptures from the Acropolis of Athens to be returned. He said, when I knew what to do, he said, "I have a little piece of the Parthenon, and it's my responsibility to return it." This is the engineer. His dad was an Italian submarine engineer who fought in World War II. In 1930, Gaetano Tosti Croce visited Athens with the Italian Navy, and at the Acropolis, which is this hilltop covered in ancient architecture, he picked up this small piece of carved marble near the base of the Parthenon. The Parthenon, a temple carved for or built for the goddess Athena in the 5th century BCE. This fragment weighs more than 2.5 pounds, about 3 inches tall, 4.5 inches wide, and it's engraved with part of a lotus flower. So Gaetano picks it up, brings it home, and he and his family then immigrated to Viña del Mar, Chile after the war, and they took this piece of marble with. The children of Mr. Croce, Tosti Croce, say the piece of the Parthenon sat on a shelf in their dining room, just another ornament just sitting there in the dining room. The Tosti Croce parents died in 1994, and their son inherited this artifact and brought it to his home in Villarrica, Chile. He said, when someone came to my house for the first time, I would show them the stone and say, "This is from the Parthenon." Some believed him, others, he said, didn't. Since the 80s, the Greek government has been trying to reacquire a collection of marble sculptures from the Acropolis that are housed in the British Museum. They're called the Parthenon marbles. They're a group of relief panels, statues, and fragments from the Parthenon building dating back to, as we said, the 5th century BCE. The British ambassador to the empire, Lord Elgin, in the 19th century, harvested the marbles and took them to the United Kingdom. Lord Elgin used illicit, inequitable means to seize and export the Parthenon sculptures without real legal permission to do so. The Greek culture minister called it a blatant act of serial theft. Well, Tosti Croce's son heard about this. He was moved by the efforts of Greece to reclaim historical property. So he reaches out to the Greek embassy in Chile in January. He sent an email, said, "I think I have a piece of the Parthenon." And he brought the marble piece to the Greek embassy in Santiago, Chile. And months later, he gets this letter from the director of the Greek Archaeological Service, thanking him for offering details about the marble piece, but they think it was likely part of a cistern or gutter on the Hecatompedon. That's the Acropolis's oldest monumental temple, built around 570 BCE during the Archaic period of Greece, because the temple's gutter was decorated with alternating oval palmettes and lotus flowers. So that's why they think that's what it is. Turned out, he said, piece wasn't from the Parthenon, but even from an older temple. The artifact has now been given to the Antiquities of the City of Athens, and the officials there say they hope this can be an example of honor and courage for other citizens around the world to do the same. So if you have something someone grabbed from Greece just sitting around, time to get it back to where it needs to be, right? Okay, I have another story. And this one comes from Scotland. Have you heard of the Battle of Culloden? It's where the British defeated the Scottish in a battle on a soggy battlefield. Now we have the projectiles, more than 100 of them, that have been unearthed. We know the Battle of Culloden marked the end of the Jacobite Rising of 1745, right? Battle for which king should be sitting on the throne of England. They say they now have evidence, more evidence of this war in these projectiles. And you can see from the picture that they're different sizes. Some are smaller, some are bigger. So interesting. There's a museum on the Culloden grounds. Likely these will be taken to wherever that is. More evidence. It is time for Waterfall Wednesday. And for that, we have information from Gordon, who sends me a directory of Alaskan waterfalls. Fascinating. Alaska Waterfall Directory. And I have some pictures to show you. I'm going to bring up the website here. And here it is. Now, I can't see a waterfall in this picture, but according to the directory sent by Gordon, this is the South Fork Eagle River Falls. It's a hidden, little visited waterfall, but it feels immense, filling a small canyon with a roar that can be heard as you approach. It's tucked into a gorge where the South Fork of the Eagle River takes a 25-foot plunge, and the falls split into two channels as they cascade over a giant bedrock outcrop. It's all very photogenic, and it's one of the most secret places. The surrounding trails are part of the Eagle River Greenbelt system, but they say private property lies very close, so you have to be careful here. The next one is called McHugh Creek Falls. This is a tiny little waterfall, but it's pretty. That's McHugh Creek Falls. The next one is called Thunderbird Falls Trail. Ooh, I'll take that. You can almost hear the water crashing down into the pool below. Thunderbird Falls Trail is a half-hour's drive from the nearby town, one of the most popular first hikes for families with small children. It's a 1-mile trail to Thunderbird Falls, going through a birch forest along the Eklutna River Canyon. You get to a deck with views of a 200-foot tall waterfall. During the winter, the falls can freeze, forming fabulous columns of blue ice. That's cool. Thanks, Gordon. The next one is called Winter Creek Falls. Winter Creek. Winter Creek looks like it splits in two. It's only a 10-foot tall waterfall, but it's still pretty dramatic. I like it. The next one is called Cascade Falls. And Cascade Falls, we'll skip these because there it is. Cascade Falls. It is the biggest waterfall in the Prince William Sound, fills a small fjord at the head of Eaglet Bay. There's a constant roar of this waterfall, high volume cascade descending a mountain gorge in 2 steps, dropping an estimated 170 feet before plunging into the ocean. It's about 45 miles outside Whittier. Usually visited by kayakers. You can see them right in front of the waterfalls there on multi-day expeditions or by small boaters who head here as well. The next one we can see is Bridal Veil Falls and Trail. We might have been here before, but I think that's okay. Oh, little bear. Here it is. Bridal Veil Falls and Trail. That's beautiful. Yeah. This one is a 2-mile long hike, a restored section of the Trans-Alaska Military Pack Train Trail. It was the first glacier-free route from Valdez to the interior of Alaska, and there's a really wonderful overlook about a mile down the trail. The next one looks similar. It's called Horsetail Falls. That's pretty cool. Kind of splits into 2 there. Horsetail Falls is a picturesque fall fed by snow and ice melt. It empties into the Low River after flowing under the road. There's a roadside pullout next to the waterfall, and so seeing this one is super, super easy. The next one is called Chittistone Falls. Chittistone. Look at that. Kind of raw and rugged nature. It's deep inside Wrangell St. Elias National Park. If you want to go see this one, it's a multi-day backpacking trip or flight seeing tour to see it. No, we can just see it here. We're good. Several overlooks of the falls can be found along the Goat Trail Traverse during a trip between the Skolai Pass and Glacier River. You can also book a plane, a flight seeing charter to check this out. How about Liberty Falls Trail? Ooh, that's picturesque, isn't it? The first part of this trail is steep. Once you're out of the spruce forest, the rest of the hike is pleasant, takes you along a ridge. And when you're on the ridge, there are places where the trees open up and there are great views of the surrounding mountains. The official trail ends at mile 1.7, but if you keep going another quarter mile or so, you get to the lake or even further on unbroken trails. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Go on unbroken trails in the wilds of Alaska. I don't think so. This is Liberty Falls Trail, and check out that waterfall. Here's this one. It's called Pitchfork Falls. That's a tall waterfall. Wow. Water flowing from Goat Lake to the Skagway River makes a spectacular 2,000-foot tall waterfall. You can view it from a pullout on the Klondike Highway, mile marker 7.6. Pull on over and check out this massive waterfall. It's called Pitchfork Falls. Super cool. You can see how big this next waterfall is by the scale of the people in front of it. Look at that. That's massive. Nugget Falls. Oh, Nugget. It's one of the most interesting natural features near Juneau. A spectacular waterfall plunges about 377 feet down the rugged mountainside into Mendenhall Lake, about 3/4 miles south of the active face of the Mendenhall Glacier. That is spectacular, truly. Then you've got the Ketchikan Creek and Falls. This area, known for being the salmon capital of the world, that's what they call themselves. Hundreds and thousands of salmon come through here every summer. And this spot right next to the library at the end of Creek Street offers a prime view of the crowds of salmon on their way to spawn. Ketchikan Creek and Falls. And I don't think we can check out Alaska without this one. This is a place in the world. It's one of these pictures where you look at it and go, it almost looks fake. I mean, it's so beautiful that it looks like someone AI'd it. Incredible. This is the Northland Glacier Falls, a 500-foot cascade plunging into a cove surrounded by immense cliffs along the northwest wall of the inner fjord of Blackstone Glacier in Prince William Sound. It is one of the most photographed in the region. This waterfall easily viewed during a day cruise from Whittier. So beautiful. This next one, called the Kittiwake Rookery. God, just look at that. Wow. Look at all the birds. Yes, it is a rookery. It's also a 200-foot waterfall coming down the mountain cliffs into the waters of the Passage Canal, just across from Whittier. The falls, a stop on most marine tours, are also a popular destination for kayakers, and they pour right through one of the largest bird rookeries in Prince William Sound. And there you have it. That is our Alaskan waterfall directory, kindly sent in by Gordon. Really worth our time and trouble, especially that one. Love it. Did you have a favorite? I'm going to the chat. What do you think? Birds. Beautiful. Gordon, thanks for sending it in. Into the ocean it goes. Yeah. Alaska has a lot of gold too, says Gordon. There's gold in them there hills. Very cool. Each waterfall, says Susan, is more gorgeous than the other. Kind of how I felt. Well, I hope you found some of it relaxing, because that, my friends, was Waterfall Wednesday. So nice. So nice to just check out for a minute. Although the news may be not one you want to check out of so soon. Kind of want to hold on to the good stuff, right? For a minute before we jump right into the challenging stuff again. But that's okay. Maybe we made the heart rate on your Apple Watch go down just a little bit by checking out the waterfalls. Again, thank you to Wes. today and yesterday for kicking in 5 to the show. Carol S., Deborah S., Wes again from last week. Thank you, everybody, for contributing to the show PayPal account, which is the information is listed in the show description every single day. And a huge thank you to Luis for popping in with a $5 contribution and with such a lovely thing to say. And also, congratulations to Heather on the new job, the job offer. Thank goodness this unemployment is coming to a close. And condolences, but also congratulations to Phineas for finding his dog a new home where the dog can be safe and loved. Not that it wasn't loved before, but you know what I mean. Okay, Gordon says, I had a feeling Alaska had awesome waterfalls and I Googled it. Thank you, Gordon. If you see anything else, yeah, please send it to me. Kim at the afterparty.live is the place to ship me all the information you have. If it's a good article, is it a waterfall? Is it a cave that you found was cool? An area where you think I could find some good caves? Send it all my way. I'd love to see it. All right. And don't forget that we do have the community tab here on YouTube on the After Party Live, which I hope will enable people to share stories, recipes, pictures, whatever you want to share in there within, that's not naughty, is good. All right, everybody, make it a great rest of your Wednesday. I will see you tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show, where Mo Kelly will take the captain's chair. Super excited about that. David Katz will be on the show, and we'll have a conversation with Patrick Weil, who's an aviation expert. He'll talk about that UPS crash and also about the issues with air traffic control and the safety of air travel right now. So that is all going on tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show. But until we meet again, make it the great rest of your day. Bye, everybody.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.
Thank you, Teacher Lori.